and spent time also in India and Pakistan. He made his Hajj, his pilgrimage to Mecca, in 1973. And like I said, could not join us. We please request everyone to keep Wali Saab in their prayers for his full recovery, and we acknowledge and honor him. Okay, so this is actually a historic picture of early American converts. I already pretty much introduced this. They basically, like I said, symbolize what Qudam al-Ahmadiyya, our young men's organization, strives for in service and self-sacrifice. Here's some recent recipients: Abid Hanif Saab, Boston; Rashid Ahmed Sahib, Milwaukee; 2008, Yusuf Latif Sahib, speaking of our jazz community links; Bilal Salam Sahib of Philadelphia; Abdur Rahman Sahib of Baltimore, who recently passed. May Allah rest his soul. Bashiruddin Osama Sahib, medical doctor, Cleveland, Ohio; and Amin Allah Ahmed Sahib from Dayton, Ohio. This past year in Milwaukee, the late Munir Hamid, Allah rest his soul, from Philadelphia; Ahmed Saeed Sahib, St. Louis; Mohsen Mahmood Sahib, New York; Munir Ahmed Sahib, St. Louis; and Nuruddin Abdul Latif Sahib, North Carolina. And I know the impact, actually, of a couple of these brothers from St. Louis, specifically Munir Ahmed Sahib, because that's where I signed my bayat. I'm a native of St. Louis. I signed my bayat there, and he, quite frankly, was like a father figure to me at first. Spent many days in the barbershop discussions and letting me steal his books. So from here, today's recipients. We didn't get the pictures in because we have them in person. So first I wanted to introduce respected brother Hamza Zainuddin. He was born in Chester, South Carolina, July 5th, 1937. His parents were sharecroppers at the time, as was common in the South. He moved to Baltimore in his youth, was introduced to Ahmadiyya through a pamphlet, a person living in his apartment building. Brother Zainuddin signed bayat in 1960. Since then has become a dedicated member of the community, example for everyone here. Served the Jamaat in different capacities, was president of Baltimore Jamaat for 8 years, during which he actively promoted tabligh efforts, service through humanity through initiatives such as Food for the Needy. Also served as property secretary for many years and continued that up until 2007. So I wanted to welcome respected brother Hamza Zainuddin, and I wanted to, from here, ask a couple questions of our recipient of this award. First, I wanted to see if the brother could please share his conversion story. What was it that brought him into the Jamaat, a little more than the pamphlet from the person in his apartment complex? So if you could tell us a little bit about that, please. What was it that intrigued you or interested you in this particular community and Islam?
Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. Amma ba'du, fa'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. First of all, jazakallah for the putting me in the category with some of these considered great brothers. What happened with me, I became a sympathizer to Islam through the preachings of Elijah Muhammad. But I only could sympathize. I could not accept it because of the fact that the things that he was preaching, a lot of the things that he was preaching, I just totally disagreed with. And when I got this pamphlet, and the brother gave me the pamphlet, and the first things on the pamphlet I vividly remember was that there was a question and answer, and the first question was, what is Islam? And the second question was, what is a Muslim? Right? And the answer, a Muslim is one who believes in Islam. The third question was, do a Muslim hate white people? And the answer was that a Muslim is taught to judge what's in the tent, not the tent. And that started me to investigate. And the brother and I, we started to read, and I read for many nights with him, all night long. We would sit up all night long and reading it was an introduction to the Holy Quran. I was telling Brother Kareem yesterday, and him and I seem to have read the same things. Years ago, when I came into Islam, the Quran had a prefix in it, and in that prefix was they ended up making it a book. It was a commentary of the Bible and a lot of things about Islam, a lot of answers things that I always wanted to know answers to. There were answers to things that I had problems with in the Bible, and here were the answers, and they seemed so simple when I read them and understood them, and I accepted them. And all of a sudden, it just seemed something just came over me. I just had to be a Muslim. And I kept telling the brother, look, I wanted to be a Muslim. He kept telling me no. He says, I can lead you in the water, but you have to swim for yourself. So finally, he took me to Washington at the time, at the Fazl Mosque, and there was a brother there named Yasin. And they talked to me. This was, I guess, about 3 months after I had been introduced to this. I seem to believe that, in my mind, that I was already a Muslim. I just didn't know it. Because the way I was raised, the way my mother brought me up in the Christian church, and it wasn't many things that I found differently in Islam that I didn't have already. So it wasn't a hard thing for me to do. So I think that's how I got here.
MashaAllah, Jazakallah. Let me also ask, in addition to that, what kind of sacrifices have you made, or challenges maybe have you had in becoming and remaining an Ahmadi Muslim for all of these years?
The challenges were many. The beginning challenges were initially being a Christian at that time for the church, when I was about 21 or 22 years old. So I've been Christian all my life. I had to give up Christmas. And that wasn't easy. That was my first challenge. How do you give up Christmas? Because everybody expected a gift, and I'm telling them I'm a Muslim now. I'm not giving any gifts. That didn't go over too easy with the Muslim family. So that was my first challenge.
Actually, that was kind of a relief for me that I didn't have to buy gifts anymore. What's kept you in this Jamaat, in this community?
What kept me in the Jamaat is very simple. I accepted the promised Messiah, and be peace and blessing will be upon him, and accepting him and the things that he wrote. It was not hard for me to accept, and not hard for me to believe. And I can believe them from there, from the beginning. I believe them now. And nothing has been able to change that. There are the challenges I've had in the Jamaat. A lot of first, let me put it this way. My first 20 years, I remember it was on an Eid day. Dr. Mafu